back to my channel. In the previous video we were talking about creating a simple weather report in C programming language, and we have performed the code and compiled it without any mistakes. So if you did not watch the video, the link is given in the description. You may go and watch it. And in the lastly made video we have discussed about Python and its programs. So in this video we will move on and talk about another programming language which which will benefit us with making of applications and also on web development, which is called Java. So what is Java? So let us go and find it out in a very detailed manner. So let us dive into the PDF file. Yeah, here we go. So Java is a set of computer software and specifications developed by James Gosling. So C was developed by Dennis Ritchie and this was developed by James Gosling in the year 1996, and it is used for development of mobile applications and deploy in its cross computing environment. So as I've said that this will help us in development of mobile applications. So the codes we write for mobile applications like Instagram and WhatsApp and everything is done by the process of writing the code in Java. So let us just discuss about Java briefly. So Java will have basically need of two components, JRE and JDK. JRE is Java runtime environment, which will enable you to run the program in your system but not develop. So this is just used for running the program after writing the code but not for the development. So when you are going to install this Java development kit, it will help us to develop the applications in our system and compile it and get it out without any mistakes. So the installation of this Java in Windows will be done in the upcoming blocks. So as I'm performing this video in the Mac system first, so and it is one of the technologies for the three core technologies JVM. So Java is one of the technologies for the three core technologies, which is Java Virtual Machine, Java Runtime Environment, and which is very important for the Java compiler. So the links given below are for the installation of JDK and JRE. I'll provide it in my website. You may go and visit. The link will be given in the description. You may not worry. And after the installation of JDK and JRE, you need to install Eclipse, which will help you to run with the help of JDK and JRE. So Eclipse is a type of editor which will enable us with the tools and which will help us to compile and check out our mistakes. You can also perform it in the notepad, but the mistakes will not be rectified at that time. So Eclipse link is also given below. So this is for in Windows. We will see for Mac also. So installation will be done now after the discussion of Java. What is Java and how it works? .java files cannot be read by the computer so easily because it looks very difficult to read. Okay, so we need to initialize some binary files which is done by JavaC from the JDK. So when we are going to save the particular file, we need to initialize it with the JavaC at the end, which will help it to understand that this specific program belongs to Java. So we have got a binary file for every .java class. So we need not worry, it will be taken care by the compiler, and still the binary class also cannot be understood by the computer. So it has some limitations too. The JVM can run any class file without any change. So Java Virtual Machine will enable us to run any kind of file without any change. So if you are going to initialize JavaC file, it can run JavaC file and any file Java Virtual Machine will take care of. So let us just see what a hello world program, the code in this Java. So the basic components to be included are public class. Public class in Java means that a person can access the code or application publicly and also can modify until unless it is finalized. So in C we are going to write some basics hash include studio.h and everything, so that is only limited to that extent. After compilation you can make changes but not at the time of editing. So if you have just fixed to one and compiled it, then when you want to just make changes, it can be accessed. But public class will enable us to access code from anywhere so that the program can be modified and finalized until unless we are satisfied. So public static void main, I mean satisfied in the sense our code will not have any bugs or errors. Public static void main. Public static void main means that you can declare a main method within the Java application. It is the core point wherein it call any variable or data type. So public static void main is the core point wherein we call the variable or any data type in this Java. So, and also not return to any values and accepts any parameters for complex command lines. So in C, if we are going to initialize int main, we need to return to some value which is an integral value. So Java will not need to any return to any values like Python. So these all are open source programs which are updated in order to make it user friendly, because writing every line wastes a time, and also it is very difficult to write every line without forgetting. So string args, so it stores Java command line arguments and is an array of type java.string class. Here the name of string array is args, but it is not fixed and user can replace any name in the place of it. So args is not a fixed program, fixed declaration. We can change it by any name in a place of it. So it should be included within the files of library files of Java. So library files and everything will be discussed in the upcoming videos, so stay tuned. If you did not subscribe to my channel, do subscribe first. So let us just move into the next line and see what is it. Out.println is a Java statement that prints the argument passed into the system.out, which is generally studio out. System is a final class in Java. Okay, now let us write a basic program. Hello world. Public.class application. So you can replace this application by some tutorial, and we are going to open the parenthesis public static void main. So here we are going to declare the main function. In C also we are going to declare the int main function. So main function is must for any program we are going to perform. So here we are going to initialize string args, and we are going to open a parenthesis again, and we are going to print out a line that hello world, and we are going to end the line. So hello world program is as follows: hello world. So setup, we will just go and see the setup now. Okay, yeah, I've already entered Java of Mac. So if you are going to use the Windows version, you may go click on the Windows version. So let us just download this Java. Here we found download Java and agree and start free download. So here our file will be downloaded. I'm just going to save it. So in Mac it will be saved in the form of .dmg. So extraction, it will be done by itself. So the Java runtime environment is been downloaded. Let's just extract it and see what our output will be. Yes, it is opening. But to get the Java-C file, you need to just download the Java JDK file also, which will help us to get the Java-C file. So let us just update this. Java installation has been started. So it will ask you for the password of your user, and you, after entering the password, it will redirect you to installation of Java. So it is installing Java, and we will just install the JDK for Mac. Okay, so that the path setting will be easy. So here we come. Here we got the JDK file. Let us just download it. And the download has also been started. So after this we need to just so my download has been started. Let me just wait for it to complete. So it will ask for your version. So mine is Mac, so I'm going to install here. So if you are going to use the Windows version, you may just click on the Windows x64 installer and then just download. We are also going to install the Eclipse in the next video, because we will just perform a program in the my JDK extraction has also been started. So let us just perform the code until it completes. Here our code has been started, so I'm just going to declare the public static void main. See that you are not performing errors as it's your first. So after entering the main, the code will be taken by itself. So here we need to write the code, system.out.println print line, and welcome to my channel. So this is my code here. So the declaration here cannot be according to a wish, so we are going to declare the main and just start it. So here my program is printed. Welcome to my channel. So if you have any queries regarding the source code, the link is given in the description. You may go and visit. So here let us just check our paths which you have just downloaded now. I'm just going to check the path for Java. So here my path is been set. We'll just scroll it down and now just declare Java now, and here my Java C is been entered and the file is been compiled, and we have got the files which have been belonging to it. And now let us just go and enter the Java C also in the same manner and see what our output would be. Okay, so yeah, we have been done with the program now. So if you like this video, do like, share, Discuss about the Java variables and implement all these variables in our GDB compiler. So if you missed out the last video, the link is given in the description. You may go and watch it. So there are 5 types of variables in Java. The first one is string, which stores name in double quotes. Int, it stores integral numbers and non-decimal numbers. Float, stores floating point numbers or digits. Char, stores a single character in single quotes. Boolean, evaluates a given condition is true or false. So as we have discussed in C programming language, there are same types of variables in C programming language also. They are one and the same, but Java is case sensitive and will function on all this. So let's first discuss about the string in the compiler now. So let us just go into the compiler back with the GDB compiler. So this is same for every process. So let me just delete this line and now declare a string. String name is equal to, so we are going to invoke a name into this. I'll just name it as Prickle Coder. I'll just close it with a semicolon. System, or else you may just write it as print line. It will take all the necessary requirements, and let us just write name and then debug it. So here we have got the output. So here I'm going to invoke the string, I'm going to invoke my name into the string, so it will print us out in the output. So let us just discuss about the int cases also. We have completed with the string case. Let us go into the int case now. Int my num equals to, so let us just print out my, so you need to print whatever you are going to print it here. So these both are one and the same, so it will take this int function and print it out here. If you just intimate it as my name, then you just debug it and see, then it will show you an error cannot find that symbol. So we have not declared it anywhere, so that's why it is not taking that function. So I'll just declare it like this, and let us just start it. So my number is 4. invoke another function into this now, my num equals to 9, and again try to print it. It will not take it again because I have declared my num here to be 4 and again my num to be 9. Then it cannot find any function. It will display an error. I will just declare it here as final int my num equals to 4. So declaring it as final will take the final function and print it out here. So let us just start and see what would be the output. 4. So now let us just add up two numbers. In Java it is very simple to do anything. So here in C we need to declare the hash include studio.h and then conio.h and then include the braces and then return to a function. Java is benefiting us with these all the functions, all the steps to be skipped and directly move into the code, which is time saving and not so boring for the developers. So let me just check the output now. Yeah, here come our output. It is 13. Let me just change the numbers and also subtract it. So I'll get the. Let me just change the order of the numbers and see. Okay. And let me start the program. I got 1 as the answer. Yes, let me see now. So I have asked it to multiply. It has multiplied. I will ask it to divide now. Yeah. I have checked it for the division also. I have invoked 9 and 72 and declared the output to be num2 divided by num1 because 7 divided by 92 will give us 8, not 9 divided by 72. So it will give us an error. It will not display anything as we have faced with the case wherein we have displayed 8 minus 9. So it is giving 0. So we have got the reminder. Now let us just now go into the char also the same way. Let's check it for the char also. Hold char p char name is equal to p, and I'm just going to print a line and say to print the name. So my output would be p, and let us check for the boolean case at last and end up program today. So here we check the boolean condition also. Here I'm invoking my number to be 10 and boolean my num2 equals to true, and I'm going to compare the number with 10 and I'm going to call it as true, and else if it is false. So let me just change the condition here and see it would be false. So start it, it's false, and if it is lesser than, then it would be true again. So it's false again. So this is it for this tutorial. If you like this video, do like, share and subscribe to our channel Pickle Coder for more interesting updates. In this video, let us move into another chapter and discuss about the Java data types and look into what are the types of data types and what are they. So let us now discuss about the data types. How are they divided into? They are divided into two types: primitive data types and non-primitive data types. So what is the primitive data types definition and how many types of primitive data types are there, and what does what is the size of the each of the data type which we have. So let us now define the primitive data type. So primitive data type defines the size and value of the variable. So if we are given some data type which is int, so this primitive data type is going to define the size and value of the variable. So here int size is going to be 4 bytes and value of the variable, it is our wish. So we can declare it by adding int before we are going to declare any variable we wanted. So there are 8 types of data types, primitive data types that Java offers us. They are int, float, char, byte, short, long, boolean, double. So int is going to occupy 4 bits and float is going to occupy 4 bits in your memory locations of the program. So and char is going to occupy 2 bits and bit is going to occupy 1 bit. Short is going to occupy 2 bits. Long is going to occupy 8 bits and boolean is going to occupy 1 bit and double is going to occupy 8 bytes. So now let us now define each of the data type which we have listed out here. So first of all we'll discuss about the bit. It stores the whole numbers from 128 to 127. It replaces int or any other integer types to save memory in the range of -128 to 127. So if the whole numbers are familiar with these numbers we listed here, so this byte can store the numbers which are going to lie between these numbers. So it can replace int or any other data type which can store up to this value, so -128 to 127. Now let us go and discuss about the int. It includes the whole numbers from -1 2147483648 to 2147486647. So these are the numbers. It is not fixed kind of it is just our approximate values wherein we can get a clarity that how many numbers it is going to take in. So let us check how many digits it is. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So 10 digits. So if this case is possible, so you can include it in long. So let us discuss about the long now. It stores whole numbers from -9 2 2 3 3 7 2 0 3 6 8 5 4 7 7 5 8 0 8 2, the positive number. So if we are not, our value isn't fitting in this 10 numbers, we can include the long and give an extension to it. It includes numbers when int cannot include the numbers. So here if this is not, int is not able to take these numbers, you can shift to long and add your desired numbers. And let us discuss about the float. It stores numbers in the form of fractional numbers which lie between 3.4e minus 038 to 3.4e plus 038. Make sure that you are going to end the value with f at the end. So here is the value, 3.4e in the sense 3.4 and error. So your number isn't going to fit in this and it is showing you the error. It will include negative and positive both. So negative, it is 3.4e minus 038 to 3.4e plus 038. Let us now discuss about the double. So float is something which can fit the numbers into this and double is the extension for it. So you see the difference in the last 3 digits. It is 038 here, it is 308 here. So you may include the values from 1.7e minus 308 to 1.7e plus 308. So you should also make sure that you're going to end the value with a D here, so that it will compiler will think that you have included the number in double. So now Boolean, as we know from C, Python and now Java, it is one and the same. It is going to evaluate a given condition is true or false. So it is probability type. So if we have a condition like yes or no, so I ask a question to someone like do you want to come out now today or code now? So you say yes if your mode is good and you say no if your mode is not good. So Boolean is that data type which takes care of this condition wherein you say yes or no. So it lies between true or false, 0 or 1 and anything which is only 2 conditions, not more than that. So char or character, it is used to store a single character in a single quotation mark. So as we know from C that we have also created a ASCII value report program and just printed out our desirable numbers to be 85, 84 or something. So char name is equals to G. So here we are going to get out the value in the println that to be we are going to get it as my name. So this will print out UG. So you can also alternatively predict the ASCII values as I have said now. So now, as we are done with the text part, let us also discuss about the non-primitive data types. They will not define any size and value of the variable. The examples of those are they are strings or classes and many more, which we will discuss in the upcoming videos. Now let us just go and predict the square root of a number which we have assigned. So let us go into the compiler and discuss about it. So let us just try to change the programming language which we want to code in. So I'm changing it to Java, and now I'll declare a variable it to be int my num equals to 4. Now let me just print out a line. So math dot square root of x my num. So if you are going to declare x, you need to print out x here. If in case you are going to declare my num or any other variable of your wish, you need to replace it with here. So let me just debug this and see. I'll just start the program now. It's 2. So square root of 4 is 2. So this is it for this video. If you like this video, do like, share and subscribe to our channel for more interesting content on Java, Python and C and many more upcoming. Thank you, and signing off for today. And for the source code, I have provided the link in the description. And for more interesting series on Java, Python or C, come back to my channel. In the previous video, we have been discussing about the Java data types, and I have performed a program to print out the square root of a number in our output. So in this video, we shall discuss about another concept in Java which is known as Java method, and also we'll be discussing about the method overloading in Java. So we will get started with the video without wasting further more time. So first of all, we need to know what is a method in Java. Method is a block of code which is going to run when we are only going to call it. So it will not run until unless we are going to declare it somewhere or call it from in a specific code we are going to perform. So we can pass data into the method by using parameters. So parameters will be discussing deeply in the next video. So if you did not subscribe to our channel, do subscribe to our channel. So methods are used to perform certain actions which are called as functions. In this statement, it is clear that methods are used to perform some actions which are they will help us to accomplish a specific task we are going to assign. So they are called as functions. So functions will also be discussed in the next video. Okay, a method must be declared within a class. So the statement about declared will be explained in the example below, which will give you a perfect clarity. It is followed by parentheses. Java provides us some with predefined methods such as system.out.println. So here's a method. System.out.println is a method which already Java provides us. So we may declare our own methods by following this rule. So here's an example. Public class main static void my method. So here we stated that a method must be declared in a class. So here we have the main class. So here we started declaring our method. Here we have declared static void my method. So my method is the name of the method I am going to declare, and void will not return any function, as we know from the C programming language. So here's a line I am printing out that I just completed the code. So this is got to do nothing with our code now. This was an example. So here starts our main code. Public static void main string args, and we are going to open the parentheses. So here's a rule that we need to enclose the my method code within the parentheses. So here we have started and we have ended here. Now here I have printed the main line I want, my desired line I want to get out. So my method is the line I want to print out. This can also be printed out as many times as you want. You need to just add up the my method as many times you want to. So now here's my code ended. Now let us discuss about method overloading in Java. So this is majorly asked interview question. So let's see what is method overloading in Java. So method overloading is different from method overriding. So method overriding will be discussed in the upcoming video. So now today we'll discuss about method overloading. It is the process of defining a same method multiple times with different names or parameters. Here we got my method to be the name of our method which we are going to declare. Here we are going to declare it as many times by just changing the data types in the examples given below. Now let us see an example which is a simple one. Here I have declared int my method index int y. So here int my method is going to invoke only integral functions which will include 21987 to minus 21987 or some figures as I have said in the last video. Now I also declare my method in the double and also float. Here I'm just going to declare different parameters. These are the different parameters I'm going to declare in double float are my different data types I'm going to declare in my method. My method is not changing. Here we are only just making changes in the data types which are going to declare. Let us go into the compiler and perform a function program which will give us a furthermore clarity for understanding this concept in a clear way. So let us just go into the compiler now. So let us just start writing the code now. I want my code to be public class main. So I have started my declaration here. Now I want to declare a static int plus method int is int x comma int y. So I want to declare my method to be plus method int, and I want to declare two integral numbers into it. So I will return to a function saying that I want to print x plus y. Now I'll repeat the same with the double also. Now double, just make changes here. Double x, so the variables we are declaring must be the same. So here we'll declare another main function. Let us just try writing some lines of code here now. So I will declare a public static void main function. Public static void main. Main, it's a snippet. So if you want to avoid writing too much, you can just use the snippet. It will take care of the code here. Now I want to declare my int to be, we shall declare some numbers plus method int 7 comma 7. Now I'll close it and declare it with the double also. Okay, so here you need to invoke some decimal numbers as you are dealing with double. Now I'll write a print line snippet and write, so it has printed printf. So I want to print a line, not a function. Now I want the addition of these numbers. So let me just try to write it now. Here I will say, yeah, int plus my num1. Okay, and the same line for the second one also. but we'll just try making changes in the data type which we are going to declare and mynum2. Now my code is ready, so let me just check the code whether there are any errors. So there are no errors in my code. Regarding the source code, you may go visit the link in the description. You will get the code there. So here we have just tried to declare a int function, int data type and double data type with declaring the same method here. So here you are going to use the plus method for both the data types which you have declared. You have just made changes in the data types here. So this is what method overloading in Java is. So if you have any queries regarding the method overloading in Java, you may comment in the comment section or visit me on Instagram if you have any queries. So if you like this video, do like, share and subscribe to our channel for more interesting content. And there is a separate Java series present where you have the Java videos to this video part to this part. If you like this video, do like, share and subscribe.